He is absolutely the happiest, helpful person I have ever seen.
If you're a regular shopper at Harbin's in Salt Lake City's Brickyard neighborhood, you probably know Brandon.
Have a great day, a great week, and have a very Merry Christmas.
He's worked there for 19 years and has made quite an impression on customers.
We'll have lines backed up. I'll open up right next to him and try to pull customers over because I'm thinking they're in a hurry. No, they want to go through Brandon's line.
Brandon always entertains my child. He does jokes with them, sounds, he gives them stickers, and he always has a joke to tell.
Wait, did you stop at a green light?
Oh.
Everyone I spoke with who knows Brandon had nothing but good things to say about him, but it was an Instagram post that spread the word about the extent of his generosity.
And it was a refugee that just didn't have enough money for her groceries.
She was buying a big bag of the Cheetos.
Then Brandon, just subtly reached in his pocket, grabbed the money, and finished paying for her.
Another customer in line snapped this picture of the good deed, posting, "She was moved to tears."
She spoke barely any English. So, but we both smiled.
But Brandon says he doesn't do it for the glory.
Customers, I like my family kids. I like to help them out.
In Salt Lake City, Amanda Gary, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Oh.
Jenny Webb had a magnetic personality.
Her page is very skillful woman, yes? Charming too. We have so much in common. She has cooked up a special dish just for you. Reconnaissance drone. Sneaky enough to fit up El Rubio's nose without you noticing. Take down air defenses, deploy this. All guard positions will be revealed to you.
At the recent Republican donor retreat that took place partly down in Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump was giving a speech, and as usual, he got off on a tear, where he started bragging about his meeting with Kim Jong-un. And he bragged about probably one of the worst parts of that meeting. So here it is, Donald Trump bragging about reporters getting rushed off. Take a look.
Okay. And he's not making press coming in. I don't think he'd ever done this before. And press coming in was not so much today, not so much but the way they boarded physically, they got to push guards down. Unfortunately, these were North Korean guards. They didn't get pushed down. And it was a rough kind of day for the press.
So this meeting that Donald Trump is referring to took place in June of 2019. So we're talking about almost 2 years ago. And the thing that stuck out most to Trump was the fact that those North Korean guards roughed up the press. And believe it or not, at the time, the Washington Post actually did report on how the guards roughed up the press. This isn't Donald Trump speaking in hyperbole. It actually happened. In fact, his own press secretary at the time, Stephanie Grisham, was bruised in the shuffle. So his own people were getting roughed up by these North Korean guards, and here he is, a little under 2 years later, acting like this was a good thing that happened because he hates the press so much, and apparently hates his own people so much, because again, one of his own got bruised. A woman got manhandled to the point where she was left with bruises. This man is so disturbed that it's tough to even come up with words sometimes to describe him. But here's the thing. He loves stories like this. He loves hearing about how other countries are so rough on their press. That's why he gravitates towards dictators like, of course, Kim Jong-un, like Vladimir Putin. You know, anybody that does whatever they can to silence any dissent in their own country, because that's exactly the kind of country that Donald Trump wants. And unfortunately, it also resonates well with his supporters. They love this crap too. They eat it up because they, much like him, believe that the press is in fact the enemy of the people. That might be one of the lasting legacies of the Trump administration, is just fully turning an entire sect of the population against the media, no matter what the media says. You know, trust me, look, we hammer on the corporate media constantly here on Ring of Fire. It's one of our big things. But Trump hates the media not because they're owned by corporations, not because they're silencing the truth, but because they had the audacity to speak it about him. Because they didn't silence the truth about him. He claims he didn't get a fair shake, but he was given every possible opportunity by the press to do the right thing just once during his entire administration. You know, they tried to soften the blow. Instead of saying he lied, they said, oh, it was a misstatement. It was factually inaccurate. They did whatever they could to avoid calling the man an abject liar. And he still cheered on foreign guards. That's what the press got for going easy on Donald Trump. One of today's video sponsors is Hydrant, a refreshing electrolyte mix that you mix into water to stay hydrated. And right now, they have a phenomenal offer for our Ring of Fire viewers. Just go to drinkhydrant.com/ROF or enter code ROF at checkout, and you can get 20% off your first order, or you can go to the subscription services and save 30% off your first subscription order from Hydrant. That's drinkhydrant.com/ROF or code ROF at checkout. We all know that we need to be hydrated, right? The benefits of hydration are well documented. It can help improve your mood. It can help improve your mental acuity. It can help keep your skin clear. It can do all sorts of things. It can combat fatigue. But the truth is, most of us are not properly hydrated. And drinking water alone is not going to get your body where it needs, and that's where Hydrant comes in. In these convenient powder packs, you can dump them into a bottle of water. It is loaded with the electrolytes your body needs: sodium, magnesium, potassium, zinc, to get your body to where you need it. And now they also have Hydrant Sleep, loaded with melatonin and many other minerals that your body needs to help promote a restful night's sleep. So again, to save 20% off your first order or 30% off your first subscription order, go to drinkhydrant.com/ROF or enter code ROF at checkout. And to make things easier, you can also click the link at the top of the video description below.
Terrific. I thank the gentleman, and Mr. Lowenthal, I'd like to talk to you offline about Catalina. I have an idea that might be a really good fit for what your community is going to go through in the months ahead.
I appreciate that, and I certainly will.
Terrific. I think the only other member I see is Mr. Soto, so he may be our final member to recognize for this panel. You're recognized for 5 minutes, Mr. Soto.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and we're here talking about a very important issue, the status of drought conditions throughout the western United States. We know how key the American Jobs Plan will be to help with that challenge. We also, in the eastern states, have drought conditions and challenges as well, and growth challenges. My district, our region grew over 20% in the last 10 years, and I represent over 930,000 more than most members of Congress. So we know really starting to affect that, and it's affecting our trees and our lakes. So it's also affecting wildlife and the federal legislature for Florida. Certain areas like Tampa Bay have proposed desalinization plants, but that hasn't been ideal, and it's now finally utilizing surface water. It's swamp water, so it does take a lot of processing to make sure it's healthy. And we've had some victories already through the Water Research Development Act, being able to convert some of our flood control water bodies to now reservoirs, like Taylor Creek in Osceola County. But not all of our communities are that fortunate. In Crow County, we just lost a $400 million jobs project because we didn't have enough water. It is helping, it's hurting our
Yep, I am. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Can I get some gas, please? $1 piece.
Yes, ma'am. You okay? Okay. Thank you, Mama.
Statue of a Panther made from gemstones. I will predict now. When you come to sell this, my mother-in-law will be first in the line. In the shift of cars, just stop in and careful out there.
This is my phone. It's my lifeline. It's also my new bank, Go-To Bank. With the ultimate app that makes banking super easy. There are no monthly fees for direct deposit.
Carry on like this and they will never know you were there.
Hey you, and well, my name is Mike, and in this old video, I'm wondering if I ever changed the intro, what would happen? Probably nothing good for me. In this one, we're gonna go through from top to bottom the story of Sierra from Delta. To the mighty year of 2016, we go. The location, Ohio. Funnily enough, there are no cornfields in this video. Okay, that's all. There's loads, actually. And on a warm July evening, Sierra was biking alongside one. But things got cold pretty quick, so let's crack on with it, shall we?
Now that they found the vault, we'll be running checks on everyone. The disguises are useless.
So we're jetting off to the kind of ironically named Fulton County. It's home to roughly 42,000 people, and it's located at the tippity top of Ohio. And probably the quickest I've ever run out of things to talk about. More like empty county, am I right? Nah, I'm sure it's great. I'll save the rest for the Facts About Fulton video I'll never make. What's important is not what was in Fulton, but who. And out of the 42,000 people that live there, one was Sierra Joggin. Sierra was born in 1996 to Tom and Sheila. She was the first child in the family, doted upon by her parents. She would be followed by 2 brothers and 2 sisters, but Sierra would always be the number one. She was confident, loved traveling, and to laugh. She graduated from Evergreen High School in Fulton County, and from there, entered university, the big leagues. She was studying business at the University of Toledo, less than an hour from home, and wanted to, as a career, work in human resources. In the summer of 2016, she was getting ready for another year at university. She was about to enter her junior year, and she was going steady with a fella named Josh Kolasinski. They had been dating for a long time at this point. 7 years! What you imagine a small-town high school relationship kind of thing to be.
Yes.
That summer, 20-year-old Sierra, she was interning at her uncle's business. Things were pretty chill. It was hot, and Sierra was enjoying, making the most of it as you would before cracking the books once again. An especially hot day was Tuesday, the 19th of July. Right smack dab in the middle of a Midwestern summer. Sierra had recently bought a new bike at a garage sale, and at around 5 p.m. that Tuesday, she was planning on taking it out for a little spin. She was going to bike over to Josh's, about 7 miles away, and hang out for a while. She said to her mother, I'll catch you on the flip side, and pedaled away. Sierra's mother, Sheila, she actually had eating plans that very day. Always getting back in these helicopters, just like last time. And when she was returning home at about 9:30 p.m., she saw she was coming home to a Sierra-less house. This wasn't, though, anything. She was at her boyfriend's who lived a few miles away, and, it's the middle of the summer. But about an hour later, at 10:30 p.m., the boyfriend she thought she was with called asking where she was. She hadn't texted back or answered any of his calls since they, parted ways, which was about 4 hours ago. Josh told Sheila that he'd been trying to get in touch with Sierra for hours, and that they had gone out for a spin together before they parted ways at about 6:45 p.m. He had returned home, and she was doing the same, or was to do the same, but obviously she never made it. These are quiet country roads. There was absolutely no reason for her not to have arrived home, and combined with no answer on the mobile phone, things became worrying. The first thought was, okay, we're gonna drive around these country roads, and we're probably gonna find her in a ditch somewhere, courtesy of a truck, farming equipment, whatever. That night, the family contacted the police and reported her missing. At close to midnight that night, as the officers were driving around those quiet roads, an officer saw something driving down County Road 6. He saw some corn that had been knocked down. Heading over to, have a view. He spotted something odd. A small fuse box, like maybe from a motorbike. Checking further around the area, he found 2 pairs of sunglasses, and then, catching the reflection of his flashlight, further in the cornfield was Sierra's bike. This was not far from her home at all. Clearly, she almost made it when something happened. There were blood stains on the handlebars and on the seat. One of Sierra's socks was the side, and also a bloody screwdriver. They saw tracks as if from a motorbike. It looked like someone had tried to hide her bike in the field, and that's when the thoughts of kidnapping, abduction, they began to percolate. The searches, fanned out. Flyers printed, knocking on neighbors' doors, asking if they had seen anything, and that's when they got a lead. A farmer had been driving down that very same road, the crime scene road, County Road 6, and he'd been driving down that road after 7 p.m. when he saw something. It was a motorcycle helmet on the side of the road, so he grabbed it, lashed it into the back of the truck, and off he went. He handed it over. and there were more stains on it. Blood stains, but they also got fingerprints. It looked like a hard helmet, and it looked like it was used as a weapon.
Bring it back, because I need it.
Wouldn't fancy taking that face.
Give me the whole
It
time.
became pretty obvious, pretty clear that someone who was involved in it was on a motorbike, right? And, well, guess what? Josh had a motorbike. In fact, the day Sierra went missing, he was on his motorbike and Sierra was on her bike. Nicole. He, however, was quickly ruled out. His helmet accounted for. They searched his house, his bike, no evidence found. The search continued, but as the hours passed, the chances of finding Sierra alive diminished. The search was like trying to find a needle in a haystack, a Sierra in a cornfield, and so they needed to narrow down their list of suspects from the nothing they had. They drew up a list of convicted felons who lived in the area, and they were going to knock on their door. One was a guy named James D. Worley. He lived very close by with his mother. They rocked up, knock, 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 and considering what they were there for, trying to find a missing young woman, he was a bit of a prick.
Who are you? Yeah, we work on a violent crime task force. Okay. So, I'm with the state. Okay. You guys got suspicion for something here. So you're going to tell me that this is all under the guy who's checking every household. Well, you're not here for any particular reason. There's a young lady. I'm just telling check here. I don't have relationships. I mean, I'm in fact trying to get one started online, I'm going to say right now. But and she's been out here. Guess what? She went home alive. Is there anybody in the house but your mother? Just my mom. Okay. Here. Is there any reason why we couldn't go there and look? What part of the house can I look here? We'd like to look through the whole house. Well, believe it or not, and cooperating is always good. Yeah, I will. I'm too quick for that. I'm just saying, you go before, I understand, sir, that's not cool.
He was defensive from the get-go, but he did let them look through his house, and, I can smell his bedroom. They toured the gap and then went out to the barnyards. One was like a garage that he worked on. Whoa, he worked on bikes of all things. Oh, motorbikes. They keep coming up. I helped ask where his helmet was. Gotta protect Noodle. Safety first. And then as they moseyed into another barn, James started sweating bullets.
Let's get out of here. Yeah. There's nothing in here. Oh, you got another section over here. Yeah.
He was freaking out, shitting himself. Wonder why.
There's nothing in here. Oh, you got another section over here. Okay.
He was freaking out, shitting himself. Wonder why. In that barn were a load of hay bales. And the police spotted marks on the floor like someone had swept up recently. Looked like he took better care of the barnyard than he did his own bedroom. The hay bales were moved, and under them was this little cage type thing. Inside, they found women's lingerie, that sort of stuff, which is already worrying when you look at this guy. James had an answer. Well, two, actually. First was, how did that get there? The second was him, the girlfriends,
I don't have relationships.
All of the items of clothing were nearly new, apart from one bloody piece of underwear. And so James was taken in for further questioning.
I have a business plan. That's going to be that for the long haul. This is going to be a studio. It's for let's make it different. I've never heard anyone so crazy out of my her life. I do not have her dad history.
James, he was going to be a big cat in the slap-a-ham industry. Out of his barn, in the middle of nowhere. That's a match made in a septic tank. He denied, having anything to do with whatever happened to Sierra. A full search of the Worley property was undertaken, and moving more hay bales, they found a sick little setup. A mattress was found in the barn, and it looked like he was setting up, something, all right. God love any woman who set foot in there. Then they found a board on the floor with holes put in, and pulling it up, they found a freezer. It was empty inside, but it looked like nightmare fuel. To be honest, it was carpeted inside. There were carpets on like the inside walls, blood on it. So nothing good happened in there. It also seemed to have been cleaned. There was a smell of bleach coming from it. Also found were, well, the usual. Zip ties, duct tape, ropes to bind, pepper spray. But what wasn't found was Sierra. Now, the reason Jimmy was on the police radar at all was due to prior convictions. James was 57 years old in 2016, and although born in Washington State, he grew up in Fulton County, and he actually attended the same school Sierra did, Evergreen High School. He worked odd jobs, farmer here, groundskeeper there, working at fairs, but he really got by selling the devil's lettuce. But what really did him in was something that happened back in July 1990. See, 26 years to the month before our story begins, something eerily similar to what could have happened actually happened. On the 4th of July 1990, Robin Gardner, a 26-year-old woman, was riding down country roads in Fulton when all of a sudden a truck knocked her down into a ditch. Out popped James, with a screwdriver. He held it to her throat, saying, get in or I'm gonna kill you. Fearing for her life, she got in, and as James was about to put the cuffs on her, she managed to get the door open and booked it. She flagged down a passing motorcyclist, right? It was like, here, listen, you gotta help me. This guy tried to kidnap me. He's gonna kill me. Then James, Jimmy boy, he got out of his truck and was like, here, listen, lad. She's crazy. She's cuckoo. Just all this. The police were called, and James was arrested. He was convicted on abduction charges and served 3 years of a 4 to 10-year sentence. He would later return to prison in 2000. This was for growing weed and having a gun while on disability, but he was out after 2 years for that one. It seems then he stayed pretty quiet for the next 14 years while Sierra grew until 2016. Now, when the police got a search warrant to search the, Worley property, it was horrors. This quote came up. It was from James to his court-mandated therapist. It said he learned from each abduction he had done, and the next one he was going to bury. A witness saw a van driving at high speed in the area when Sierra disappeared. Plates linked to James. The helmet, it was his. His cell phone data showed he was in the area of the crime scene when Sierra went missing, and combined with the items found in the barn, he was arrested on abduction charges on the 22nd of July. All of this, with his previous history combined with everything they found, well, thoughts of him being a serial offender, perhaps even serial killer, came up. However, as they searched the shit out of James's shithole, they found nada. No sign of Sierra, no sign of any other possible victims. Not there, anyway, because on the 22nd of July, Sierra was found. A farmer discovered, a patch of dirt in his field a few miles from James's place, and he called the police. They dug, smelled that smell of decomposition, and there she was. She'd been hog-tied, gagged, and was wearing a diaper. The gag in her mouth, asphyxiating her. It didn't appear she had been sexually assaulted.
This is good news for two reasons. First, it
James Worthy was charged with murder, kidnapping, abduction, tampering with evidence, abuse of a corpse, amongst other indictments. He pled not guilty to everything.
An area around County Road 7 tragically found what we believe to be Sierra's remains.
The Fulton County Sheriff says authorities located the body in an area around County Road 7 Friday night.
Positive identification will be made through either fingerprints or DNA, but at this time, we strongly believe that this is Sierra. Sierra was a remarkable young lady with a contagious smile. She was a loving person who has touched many people in her life. We miss her, and we will always love her.
I heard some things.
Like what?
Like the kid who was prep school bound took free.
The boat is on a trailer. You will need something to tow it. I have options for you. Coordinates are with you now.
Yes.
The trial began in March 2018. What happened, it's believed, is this. On the 19th of July, James, according to his search history, was watching porn all day, having a grand old time, and then he decided to go for a spin on his motorbike. As he was driving along, he saw Sierra on her bicycle just after she left Josh at about 6:45 p.m. He then drove around her ahead of her, got off his bike, and as she cycled past, he got the motorcycle helmet, and he then dragged her into the corn, her bike too, and he tied her up. He then left her there and went to get his van. While she was tied up in the cornfield, he actually called his brother to ask for a lift back to his place. He said, his bike was fucked, hence the fuse box that was found. Evidently, when his brother arrived, he didn't see anything odd. So James then drove back to the cornfield in his van, put her in, and they went to the barn. Her DNA was found on the mattress, on underwear, on duct tape. James's DNA was there too. He physically assaulted her, gagged her with this dog toy, which he inserted hard enough to break it too. This caused her to suffocate, and then he buried her 2 feet deep. It was impossible to say the time of death. He denied it all, said the stuff found, in the barn, that was for his porn studio. Yeah, right. And then the fact that his helmet that was found in the cornfield, his bike did actually break down there the day before, and he had just forgotten it there, But the fact that it was, the same place Sierra disappeared, coinky-dink. At trial, Robin Gardner, survivor from 1990, she testified. And the prosecution presented recordings from James's sister, who mentioned that he'd been suspected in 2, perhaps 3 other murders. One was involvement in the disappearance of 14-year-old Lori Ann Hill. She disappeared after leaving a Halloween party back in the 80s. Her naked body found 4 days later.
Police are not commenting on whether or not Worley is a suspect in any of these murders.
In the end, James was found guilty, with the jury recommending the death penalty. At sentencing, James had this to say.
Hello, everyone. Since the onset of this thing, I have been instructed to remain silent and to say nothing. And that is good advice to just anyone who is in any kind of predicament. The less you say, the better off you are. First and foremost, I want to say that myself, my family, everyone that I know is heartbroken for the John family. Make no mistake. Now, the person who used my helmet, who found it after I lost it, I truly believe she was attacked, and then my big goofy shows up with my body. He's got her subdued. I don't know where. I don't have those answers. He took that home and he left the palm print on the floor. The DNA found under her fingernails, not my DNA. And during the 2-3 days he had Sierra, I believe she was walked. Literally kept under subdued, kept under control. Don't ask me why she wasn't there. She was a beautiful girl, but she wasn't, and I'm glad.
Funnily enough, James' defense of saying, it wasn't me, I was set up. The real guy's still out there. But him saying, if I did do it, it would have been much worse. That didn't go over too well with the judge, the jury, anyone.
Wait just a moment. The family isn't taking this well, I can understand. So the bottom line is, there are things that point to new defense, even though I have been found guilty.
So then, unsurprisingly, the judge laid the smackdown on James.
The court therefore accepts the recommendation of the jury. The court orders that James C. Worley is hereby sentenced to death for the aggravated murder of Sierra Jogger. The court orders that the execution date of James C. Worley be set for June 3, 2019 to be carried out by the appropriate authorities. The execution date shall be subject to further order by a court of competent jurisdiction. Defendant James D. Worley shall be remanded to the appropriate Ohio prison institution to be held on death row pending his execution.
The judge upheld the death penalty recommendation, and he also got a combined 23 years for other charges. His execution date has been delayed twice, and in January 2021, his defense has started arguing he should get a new trial, that it wasn't fair. No judgment on that has come out, not yet anyway. Be surprised if he gets a new trial. As for Sierra, her memory was, and still is, honoured. With walks and runs in her memory, a scholarship was set up, as was Justice for Sierra, which provides safety training. And that just about wraps up this one, a very tragic case. For Sierra seemed like such a wonderful, wonderful person. And James, he did the exact same plan 26 years later after it failed the first time. Unfortunately, it didn't fail in 2016. He's one sick puppy. The Worley barn has been destroyed, though maybe something underneath remains. In August 2020, the FBI, along with the Sheriff's Office, began searching it again. What tipped them off, what they were hoping to find, who knows, but I imagine that they have a good idea.
They've been tight-lipped about the investigation, only that it involves Worley, and the FBI was trying to collect evidence that may possibly be there. The property used to belong to Worley, but was given to Sierra Jogga's mother in a civil settlement.
There could possibly be a lot more names behind James Worley than we thought. We'll just have to see what they see. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate you taking the time. Here, go on. I'll see you as always real soon in the next one. Till then, please take care. I love you. Bye, care.
I was making so much money with DoorDash. I wanted to earn money in my free time, but I didn't want to go out and get a boring 9-to-5. That's when I found out how much money my friend was making with DoorDash.
Hey you, and before we get into hunting a killer in this old story, I want to let you know that this video is... I want to let you know that this video is... I want to let you know that this video is... Location Ohio. Believe it, there are more deals in this video.
Oh, yes. Bye. You ever shut up?
So, I deduce from the sound of gunfire that you have not gone for the stealthy approach. Fair enough.
You have come here only to bag of shit. No! Brother! Are you okay? Piece of asshole! You fucking amateur!
Did you find it yet? Bring it to me and I will keep it safe.